And we're live.
We're live now, yeah.
Yep.
We're live. Brilliant.
Okay, alright.
Sweet.
Fuck yeah.
Definitely pick up my voice, but I'm not sure if it'll pick up the audio coming from my computer, which is your guys' voice.
Can you speak?
We're live. Brilliant.
Oh, I know. Yeah, there we go. It's picking up you guys as well, right?
Yeah.
Tyler, can you hear us?
Yeah, your voice is a bit quiet, but it's alright.
Oh, okay, alright. But you can hear yourself and Luke.
Yeah, pretty much.
Okay, alright, that's fine then. We're ready to start then.
Oh, can you hear us?
Yeah, your voice is a bit quiet.
Oh my god, bro. Who's playing?
That's Matthew, I think. Or, yeah, I think it's Matthew.
God, are you ready?
Are we ready?
Yeah.
Okay, so welcome back to our fourth Pompaliwood Podcast. It's pretty hype. We try to do these things every month or so, but you know, it's pretty good for us. I think the gap between our second and our third one was pretty big, pretty
Significant.
for us. We've got our usual hosts, myself, Kevin, and Luke. Say hi, Luke.
Hi.
Alright. Well, you'll also notice our audio software right now is a bit janky, just because we're on lockdown as we're streaming right now. We've also got Matthew here with us.
Hey guys, it's good to be here.
I think he was on the
Glitchy.
Right? Second or first? I'm not too sure. But anyway, he's here now with us, and we're excited to get into this. Everyone's gone quiet. I don't know why.
What do you mean everyone's gone quiet?
Okay, no, fine. Matthew, you still there?
Yeah, I'm still here.
Okay, great. Okay, it's just me. Alright.
Yeah, of course it's still. We're just waiting for.
Whoa, your mic, Luke.
Yeah, I know. Just please stop bullying me.
What's Tyler saying or whatever?
He's saying he can't hear you.
Me.
Yeah,
At all.
you give.
Can you hear me at all?
Who's echoing?
Can you hear me now? I've turned my gain up a bit on the mic. Hello? Are you guys still there?
Yeah. Who's playing the podcast?
What? Oh, I
Who's playing it? Can you not hear?
Is Tyler all good? What's he saying to you guys?
He's not saying anything.
What? Tyler's not saying anything?
No, it's.
Okay, alright. Well, I hope my voice now isn't too quiet or echoey.
No, it's alright.
No, it's fun.
Okay, alright. As long as you can understand me. Okay, cool. So, anyway, welcome to our fourth podcast. Here we have Matthew, Luke, and myself. Let's get into it.
Woohoo!
So, first section, we're almost going to skip this one because neither me or Luke wanted to talk about anything in particular. I'd always want to talk about Brawlhalla, but, you know, not everyone's wanting to hear that all the time. But here we got Call of Duty, which Matthew's going to be talking briefly about.
Hold up. Can I just.
Yep.
Who's playing the podcast in the back?
Not me. At least I'm playing it so quietly that it shouldn't be able to be
Turn-
picked up from...
No, like everyone can hear.
Pardon me?
What do you mean?
The podcast, it's really loud. Someone's playing it in the.
Like it's echoing.
Yes, it's echoing.
There's no way that my mic's picking it up because it's so quiet on my computer. I can barely hear you guys.
Yeah, and I put my computer on mute.
Yeah, it's not coming from.
Alright, well... Is it...
Hang on, I gotta... Apparently my mic volumes do not...
It's definitely not mine, I'm just saying, because it's so low, the volume on my computer.
Just turn it off. It doesn't matter.
Turn the audio on my computer off.
What? No, turn the podcast off. Why are you doing it? Tyler can communicate with us. It doesn't matter. Why?
Is it still happening?
Yes, it's still happening.
Am I a bit quieter now?
You're fine, Matt. Your audio is fine.
Alright.
Wait, so Luke, turn the podcast off.
What?
You said turn the podcast off. Is the problem still happening?
Oh, stop now.
Okay, that's really weird. Maybe it was
What was just going on?
We might just have to restart this.
No, we're fine. We're only like a couple minutes in. But everything's fine now, right?
Who cares?
Echo.
Who cares?
Yeah, sorry for the
it's
technical issues,
Yeah,
fellas.
this is like a lockdown project, so it's not all gonna go according to plan. But anyway, my audio is fine, and so is Matt's and Luke's. So we'll just continue.
Yeah.
Yay.
Call of Duty. What's up?
Alright, so Call of Duty recently released the campaign to one of their most successful games of all time, Modern Warfare 2. Yes, it's only the campaign. It's of course, the 2009 sequel to the original Call of Duty 4 Modern Warfare. This is, of course, the plot is more developed and it continues on from the first one. The game is actually mostly known for its multiplayer success, which I don't know why Activision didn't include it in the remastered. Apparently it's because they didn't want to split the population between Modern Warfare 2019 and this. But this is quite a welcome addition in terms of a remastering, because it was one of the better campaigns out of the Modern Warfare series, apart from the 2019 soft reboot. Otherwise, yeah, it's exactly like the original one in terms of
Matthew? Have you played much?
it's the same thing.
Alright.
In terms of this year's new Call of Duty game, of course, Treyarch are going to be handling that, as this year both Sledgehammer and Infinity Ward handled Modern Warfare, so this year, of course, is Treyarch's turn. There are stories or rumors circling around that it's going to be a retelling or a reboot of the original Black Ops game, which came out in 2010. So that will be interesting. If not, it will either be a remaster or a new installment of the Black Ops series. But so far, they're being a bit quiet in terms of things because, as we know, Black Ops 4 had a less than stellar release and reception, due to the fact that that game in particular had no campaign and only had the multiplayer, which, if you consider that, means it had a expiry date of some sort.
Yeah, honestly though, just speaking about it, should they even be making a new Call of Duty game this fast?
I have no idea. They've always been doing it on like a yearly basis.
Yeah, but because of that, the franchise has been declining slowly.
Yeah, the last good game was Black Ops 2, in my opinion, and then the moment they released Ghosts, everything just went downhill real quickly.
I haven't played much Call of Duty game. Played Black Ops 3 and the new Modern Warfare, the 2019 soft reboot, but even then, I think the newer one, the one that came out last year, that was quite a good game. It's not bad.
Yeah, the campaign was
But the one problem is that it's too big, in my opinion.
And also, the game actually had quite a few problems with one of the contents relating to the Spec Ops co-op feature, which was broken and didn't have that much. Well, it didn't have many missions, and the gameplay was apparently really difficult.
Yeah, I mean, my problem with the Call of Duty Modern Warfare was that I don't know, it's like when you're playing it, it's just like a big mud fest, like just people sliding around in mud everywhere, like especially on shipment.
Yeah, definitely. I can relate to
It's just trash.
Yeah. Another gaming news, of course, we have the next generation coming out, which is, of course, Xbox Series X and PlayStation 5.
Yeah.
The PlayStation 5's gotten significantly less press, I feel like, compared to the Xbox Series X, mostly because they don't want another Xbox One fiasco, because back in 2013, that thing got lambasted. Didn't help that they had Don Matrick doing the thing, who had no idea what he was doing, and it took like a year or two to salvage the product.
Yeah.
And if we continue, and if you don't mind, just want to speak quickly on some more stuff about that. So far, this morning on Twitter, they released details about the PlayStation 5 relating to prices. Apparently, so far in US dollars, it's going to be anywhere from $499 to $549. And apparently they're going to be doing that in few selections, or not selections, in few supply, because they don't know how many orders they're getting.
Right.
They also released of course, PlayStation is well known for their controller. Obviously, I mean, I maintain the belief personally that the Xbox 360 controller was the best to ever be created, because that was easier to use. With the Xbox One controller, personally speaking, it was a bit difficult to adapt to, because it was a bit bigger and more bulky. But with the Series X, it looks like they don't have any significant changes apart from an upload button. PlayStation 5 controller, however, looks like the spacesuit from bloody Avengers Endgame. It looks so high-tech, it looks like something out of Star Trek.
Haven't watched Star Trek.
But that's pretty
And speaking of, I'm just going to continue a bit here with Xbox news. As far as we know, still there is no real new sort of news relating to Halo, because obviously they've just had the whole thing where they released the Master Chief Collection onto computer, and they were having the heat on Halo 5 Guardians die down, and they finished adding Reach to the MCC, which is quite good. I have the game. I love Reach. I think as a story, it's incredible, and the multiplayer, though some bits were lacking, it had more of the customization compared to any of the other games. But with the things relating to Infinite, of course, Halo 5 picked up a lot of flack because of the campaign was a bit too boring. There was no split screen, so you can do 4-player split screen for the campaign and multiplayer, which is what the series is known for. The good thing I feel like about it, though, speaking as a player, is the controls are better. They're a bit more shooter kind of, so you can use the ADS easier and reload a bit easier and stuff compared to previous games. So with Infinite so far, we know that there's going to be a 4-player split screen. That's going to be coming back. They're going to be having support for LAN parties. Hopefully there's no microtransactions, because otherwise there'll be a whole entire new set of problems. And if they could have the same kind of controls from Halo 5, and then, some of the customizations from Reach and a decent campaign, I feel like that would be one of the best launch titles for the Xbox One. The Xbox Series X.
Right then, well.
Yeah.
Is that it for games?
That's like games and
not really much that,
gaming. Yeah.
There's not much.
Sorry for the verbal diarrhea, fellas.
It's no problem.
Yeah, there's nothing that I can really talk about.
All I can talk about is literally just Brawlhalla, and that's it. But nothing's going on in that department.
Yeah, I can talk about Siege, but the only thing that's happened is people getting...
Yeah, the only thing that's happened with that is definitely people getting nerfed.
Okay, well, if in other news,
yeah,
TV series, just
on to TV.
All right, so top left, just left. We got Nancy Drew. I don't know what that's about, but these lads will probably be able to tell you. Top right.
Yeah.
Yeah.
Nancy Drew series is based on a. The Nancy Drew series is based on a popular series of mystery novels. So you know how you had the Hardy Boys, you also had Nancy Drew. So when
I think of Nancy Drew, I usually think Hardy Boys.
Yeah, that's
Well,
what.
I have read a few of these books, but none of
Yeah,
them.
I know nothing about Nancy Drew. The Hardy Boys was completely my thing. I was a huge fan of the books.
Yeah, they were quite good.
Yeah, if I had to pick a favorite, it would something about a con artist. But a real thing that I really got into was the Hardy Boys graphic novels.
Oh yeah, I
Like
never
when
read
I was
any
like
of those.
9 from the library, I remember like getting a huge heap of them every. Bloody good stuff. What else in TV series? Oh yes, how can we not talk about the internet phenomenon that is the Tiger? Of course, if you haven't seen Tiger King or you haven't seen any of the memes, you might have been living under a rock the past few weeks.
Something about it popped up in my recommended on YouTube.
Yeah,
Was that some video about it? I didn't watch it.
Tiger King's about Joe Exotic and about him having his private zoo filled with snakes, other animals, and of course tigers. It mainly focuses on his troubles with pretty much the most evil person in the entire universe after watching the series, Carol Baskin, who of course biggest hypocrite on the face of the planet, who also, though she denies it to this day, she murdered her husband by pouring sardine oil over him and feeding him to tigers.
Who's the buff guy?
So she's a feminist.
Yeah, and yet somehow when Joe decided to do a civil duty and something good for the human area of where he lives, he decided to phone a hitman to try and take out Carol, and then he ended up getting 22 years in prison. A thing a man will go through to protect his animals is just shocking.
Depends on what kind of animal, though, doesn't it?
Yeah, because Joe Exotic himself is a bit of a weird human. For one thing, he has almost bleached mullet with like a Hulk Hogan style mustache and whatever. He's had like multiple like civil husbands or whatever the hell, and he has very unorthodox methods in like terms of promoting his content.
Wait, so who's the guy in the picture next to the tiger?
That's Joe Exotic.
Oh, that's the actual guy.
Yeah, that's the actual guy. He's in prison as we speak, apparently. He's trying to appeal to Donald Trump to get him out.
Oh, wait, isn't it actual?
Yeah, it's an actual real-life thing.
Yeah, it's a...
Oh, I thought it was fiction.
Nah, it's true,
Poured
mate.
sardine oil onto the...
100%, it's 100% real. It's 100% real.
Oh, that's horrible.
Yeah, it's the way... Yeah. Keep in mind, from memory, it's either in California or Florida, so I'm not really surprised if it's around there.
Yeah, just America in general.
Yeah, America in general needs to get their act together. I mean, you can't
have you seen the Heineken flu cases?
Oh,
I haven't.
bruh.
What happened with those? What is that?
Let's just say that it's bad.
Pause. Yeah.
But yeah, I can't blame America for losing the complete mind. I mean, they have an Oompa Loompa in the White House, and the most...
We're steeping into political...
And you...
Politics. Okay, now that's enough politics for one podcast.
Main takeaway.
Yeah.
Surely we start... We do 2 podcasts, like every now and then, Pompaliwood Podcasts and Pompaliwood Politics.
Yeah, kept
Let's go.
Separate. I don't think I could.
Yeah, the Pompaliwood Podcast of Politics.
Yes, where we talk about stuff that's happening in the world and why it's screwed up.
We talk about freaking games, TV series, and then just politics at the end. It's really good. Can I talk about the top right?
Yeah, what is that?
So,
Actually,
yeah, what is that?
Okay, I'm offended. No, it's fine. It's a Netflix original series. Have you heard of On My Block at all?
Wait, what?
No.
On My Block?
No, I haven't.
So it follows a group of teens. They live in kind of like a ghetto neighborhood. There's this kind of like there's 2 gangs in the series. There's like kind of like a Mexican gang, which what do you call it, Caesar, and he's the guy on the left. He's like born into it, and his big brother's like kind of the leader of it. He's called Spooky, right? And then there's like this other gang called the Prophets, and they're like kind of going at it. But yeah, it's basically like if you take away all of the gang stuff, it's basically a high school kind of like coming of age TV series thing. But yeah, it gets really interesting because of the ghetto elements to it. But it's really good. I finished. I binged it for like a week. I got through all 3 seasons. And I was really happy with it because it's ongoing. They're making season 4, but as with everything right now, that's been put to a halt. But yeah, I really like the series. If you haven't checked it out, definitely do so because the writing's good. I'll say that much. It's pretty effective at times. At times, I'm not the biggest fan of the writing, but the acting as well. It's fine. But what really got me was the story of it. So it's just worth checking out on just by the story itself. It's really good because you actually come to care about the characters. I'll just name them off from left to right. You got Caesar, so he's like Mexican, I think, and then you got the right. That's like the girl. He kind of that's the love interest for most of the seasons. That's Monse, and then the dude next to her. That's Jamal, and then the dude next to him. That's Ruby. So you kind of follow these teens, and then they go about their lives. But every now and then they like.
Wait, did you say Ruby or Ruben?
Ruby, short for Ruby. Yeah.
Oh, okay. I'm sorry. I was
There's
like,
another character called Olivia.
but not that anything's wrong with the character. It's just that they didn't like a trans character. And I got a bit confused there.
So, Kevin, what you're pretty much describing is that it's pretty much a high school drama film meets Boys in the Hood, pretty much.
Yeah, that sums it up quite well. It gets really sad sometimes as well. Like the season finales and the mid-season finales are also pretty like heart-wrenching at times. So yeah, you actually do care about the characters. But yeah, definitely check it out if you haven't. It's really good. It's on the
if you don't mind, just want to ask quickly, boys. Have any of you watched The Witcher at all?
I have not yet. Do not spoil anything.
I'm not spoil anything. I'm just gonna say it's really good. It's definitely stays true to like the books and the video games and all that.
Oh, yeah, I forgot it was based off other source material, but I only watched it up to the part where the ugly girl becomes not ugly.
Oh, yeah. Nah, be quiet.
And once again, this is the first time on podcast that we've spoiled something for Luke, and it will probably happen again soon.
Okay, anyway, what I wanted to say was, I think it was yesterday, the God of High School anime teaser dropped, and that was pretty hype. Not gonna lie.
Man, can you talk briefly about that?
Yeah, pretty much. The God of High School, about all these kids in high school in South Korea, and also which you'll learn later on in the series. But it's about so all these high school kids, and they pretty much fight in this tournament to get a special prize. Any style, any weapon is allowed. So you've got like your taekwondo, you've got your karate, you've got your wrestling, your Brazilian jiu-jitsu.
Oh, we know.
You've got your tai chi. You've got your like people with wooden swords, your kendo people. You've even got a dude with a baseball bat.
Can you just like straight up sharpen the knife or a sword?
I'm not sure.
Like,
I know there's one guy. but yeah, and also it gets pretty hardcore later on. The fights are up there with Dragon Ball Z and Naruto. So
is the animation quite good?
The animation looks quite good. It's it's by Studio Mappa, I think it is.
Oh, what other things do you work
on? I can't remember. I know there are quite a few quite popular titles up on their list.
Yeah, all right.
But and also it's going to be part of the Crunchyroll originals, which is like it's pretty much it's actually based off a manhwa, if I didn't already say that, instead of a manga.
Yeah.
And a manhwa is like the South Korean of a manga.
Yeah. And of course,
so it's like
you said, Luke, it's going to be appearing on the Crunchyroll streaming service, where you'll be able to catch many of your favorite Japanese anime dubbed or subbed.
Yeah.
Yes, and also, but another thing I want to talk about is that A Tower of God that is airing at the moment. 3 episodes are out, and that is also based on a manhwa. So this is part of their new thing that they're doing. They're making a bunch of anime based on manhwa. You know, they're tapping into new media in a sense.
Yeah.
Yeah.
Well, that's interesting.
into new territories, and it's looking pretty good so far.
Mm.
Haven't seen anything amazing yet, but
And of
I'm
course,
hoping that
And of course, on Disney Plus, they are busy streaming the final season ever of Star Wars: The Clone Wars. Of course, if you've at least tried, if you were like a kid coming home from school, you'd turn it on. You'd either see it on Cartoon Network or on Disney XD before they got rid of it. But yeah, they decided to bring it back after 5 years for one more season. Fans are absolutely loving it, myself included. It's apparently 20 episode, which is brilliant.
First, wait, someone's mic is really getting a bit scratchy.
I think that might be Luke.
Luke, you all good? Might be, yeah.
what?
Oh, it's all good. It's gone now. It's stopped. Anyway, sorry, Matthew.
But yeah, Star Wars: The Clone Wars Season 7, final season, really good so far. Even though I'm like up to only the third episode, I'm waiting for all of them to not be released week by week. I'm waiting for all of them to come out so I can, binge watch them and relive myself if I was back to being 9 years old again.
Brilliant.
Okay, sorry.
It just went
Matthew
quiet for a
cut
second.
out for a moment, but he was actually all good. Okay.
Yeah, Star Wars:
So
The Clone
that's
Wars.
a big chunk of the.
I haven't actually watched many episodes myself, but
Yeah.
yeah, it must be pretty good.
Matthew
Very good.
could talk at length about that. To be honest, we could have our own segment about that, but we'll move right along to our next topic. What do we got?
What is this?
Oh,
Due
yeah.
to the Heineken flu, films are put on hiatus, is that how I pronounce it? And
Yeah,
release
hiatus.
dates are pushed back.
Yeah, they've been put on hiatus, and the release dates have been pushed back to at least around July at best.
The only project that I've been following that this affects, I know, is the Last Airbender live adaptation, because I know that.
Oh, you're
the
kidding.
that's
It's
the
not
only
another
thing I
one.
care about. But I'm sure there's also.
Yeah, also Cobra Kai season 3,
Yeah.
I want.
Yeah. When was that supposed to be released?
I think, I don't know, they hasn't even started being.
Mind you, it wouldn't take that long to film, right?
And then there's also Stranger Things.
Yeah. A lot of people were looking forward to that as well.
And of course, because of the coronavirus outbreak, the Heineken virus, excuse me, pardon my French, pretty much a major chunk of release dates have been pushed back. This includes DC's Wonder Woman 1984, Marvel's
This is
Black
everything.
Widow,
Yeah. 'Cause
Marvel's Eternals. The new James Bond film was originally supposed to come out this month, but they pushed it back to November. But the funny fact about that was, if it was last year, that it would have released in November. And then they had to push it back to April because they had the director drop out or something, or Daniel Craig got injured again. It was actually
Damn.
both from memory. And then it's been pushed back to what is now a year from when it was supposed to be released. Bit of humor.
Yeah, I'm
'cause
still hoping. What happened to?
Huh?
What happened to Alita? Was that ever getting a sequel?
I think it
I didn't even
was.
hear about that, so I couldn't tell you.
Yeah, because I remember when we went to watch the movie, that was hype. I
Yeah.
loved it.
Yeah. No, I would have loved a sequel to that, to be honest, because it felt very abruptly cut at the end.
The only mediocre film I've really kind of seen this year had to be Sonic the Hedgehog. It's fun. It's fun from a kid's standpoint, but if you're
I
like
got to see that. Damn.
if you're like 14 and up, it's really easy.
Yeah.
Yeah, but then
get me
again,
wrong,
the target audience is probably more towards younger kids.
Did
Yeah,
they got-
remake that film? Did they produce it?
They had to redo Sonic because when they released the teaser trailer, he looked
I was just gonna
horrible.
say, good on 20th Century Fox for actually doing that.
Well,
Yeah, good on.
Project.
It was either 20th Century or Universal who did it. Either way,
It might be in Universal.
Yeah.
good job on the higher ups who saw, this hedgehog isn't looking like
Yeah.
what we originally wanted it to look
That's
like.
really good. I think that's just an example for other film companies. Like, if your fans are telling you to don't release that film because some part of it's horrible, then it would pay to just.
Not to Kevin, not to
Hey.
mention that, guys, you have to also realize there were going to be skeptics going into that film anyway, because obviously, video game movie adaptations have
Yeah.
had such a bad reputation for being
Pretty bad
horrible.
streak.
You had the Street Fighter film from the 90s. You had Super Mario Bros. From 94.
Oh, we didn't talk about that.
That was horrible.
Completely
You had,
shut it down.
and then you had Doom with The Rock before he decided, yeah, let's make a good one. This was back when he was making crappers, like shooting them out. And then you had, trying to remember the other one. Oh yeah, 2016's Assassin's Creed. Oh boy, that was a letdown.
Yeah, case in point, a video game to film doesn't always translate that well.
I'll tell you one that actually wasn't that bad, but that might be because it's a cult classic.
Which one?
And that would
Okay.
be 1994's Modern Combat. I mean, not Modern Combat, Mortal Kombat.
Mortal Kombat. Yeah,
Damn.
I did hear some good things about that film. I don't follow the game, but yeah.
I mean, Detective Pikachu wasn't that bad, was it?
Yeah, Detective Pikachu wasn't as bad as I was expecting it to be.
That's the thing as well. People are expecting it to be bad. Like, people don't say it wasn't as good as I was expecting it to be. Because nowadays,
Yeah.
Because
mostly bad.
because video game based films have received a whole heap of flack, and rightfully so. Movie like start, and it's the same with like live action anime adaptations and all that.
Oh no, we don't talk about that one that I'm sure you're thinking about.
I'm not gonna mention Dragon Ball. I'm not gonna say that.
You just mentioned it.
It's too late.
But yeah, they pretty much, Hollywood, they whitewash everything. They really stick to the source material, and politics then end up taking up good majority of it.
Yeah, power
Yo, The Last Airbender. Anyone?
Oh gosh,
so
that made me
hyped.
want to. That made
Yeah,
me want
that's
to.
why.
gouge.
That's why I'm
I
excited about the
dropped
net.
everything just to watch, like, to keep up to follow that one. Because
Watch. Yeah,
if
Let's hope it's better than the one from 2010. Because
I mean, it's got the original creators. It's got the person that made the original sound creator.
and
they've got
casting
everyone
people who
getting back.
actually look like the characters as well,
Yeah,
like
Yeah.
ethnically.
I tell you what, film franchise. I mean, it's a funny fact, but originally, when I went to Wellington last year, and I went to Weta, and we were looking around the facility, they had all the stuff for like an actual live action Halo film, but they actually canned that, and then ever since then they had like Netflix original like specials and all that using that exact same stuff, and it looked exactly like from the film, down to the very like last detail of like some of the vehicles and weapons, which is
red versus blue.
yes. But I'm not gonna lie, if you have like some action shooter like type of thing done right, because Gears of War, I can see how that can turn into a major like film kind of thing, and it would even be good if you have the right actor, which obviously, ironic enough, Dave Bautista said he would play Marcus Phoenix in that film.
Oh damn, Drax.
Yeah,
What
because
about-
those characters look exactly alike, and in Gears of War 5, Bautista actually does some voiceover work.
What about a Devil May Cry live action TV show?
Oh,
Bro, that'd be
that
hype.
would do really
That
well.
would be good if they managed to stay authentic to it. I feel like that would actually be one of the best things released.
Yeah, it could be just like another Witcher,
Oh yeah, exactly. Because with the Witcher,
except more of
yeah,
more modern.
like the Witcher but more modern. That would
Yeah,
actually
that'd be like combining John Wick and The Witcher.
Yeah, apparently they're making a new Mortal Kombat film for I suppose since it's on hiatus right now, like every other major film production filming or whatever, it'll probably be pushed back to 2022. But I looked at some of the cast so far; they've all been like placed in the roles authentically. I feel like if they stick to the source material, that would be one of the better gaming films. I feel like because they have the right actors, they have the right story, they will probably have the right story, and especially in today's world of special effects, that would easily work.
They
Yeah,
can-
and whatever happened to that?
to which one?
Do you guys remember that the Minecraft? Like
Oh
Right.
boy,
last year,
I
Aren't-
and it kept.
I remember
filming
hearing
that?
about that and then hearing nothing at all about it. I kind of just forgot about it.
Yeah, it was understandable. We've got no plot.
Yeah.
But I mean, what are you gonna like? I guess they could say like, Steve has to fight the Ender Dragon and then follow the game's format, but that'd be so boring.
Yeah.
Yeah, I mean, they've already got Minecraft.
Yeah. And the last thing you want to do is like do a video game film that's not even the same type of product as the original. Like take that Need for Speed film, for example, in like 2014.
Oh, yeah.
That bombed so hard, and they got Aaron Paul from Breaking Bad. Not a good day for Jesse.
The Need for Speed, I feel like that should have been more like a Fast and Furious.
Yeah,
like the first
Fast
one?
and Furious X, but they should have made it like more Fast and Furious-esque, I feel like.
Yeah, but I mean, it was kind of some of the Fast and Furious. I mean, like Tokyo Drift mainly. I feel like Need for Speed should have been like that.
Yeah, but then again, Tokyo Drift is like one of the least likable ones out of the whole series, I feel like, mainly because...
they switch up the character.
Not to mention the time jump's weird, because you go from Fast 1, Fast 2, Fast 4...
Wait, wasn't it...
Fast 5, Fast 6, and then you go Tokyo Drift, then 7, then 8.
Was Fast 2 after Fast 1?
Yeah, it was. Too fast.
I can't even remember. I just remember it being really, really different. Fast 2.
No, because it was like set like a year or something after the first Fast and Furious film.
Oh, yeah. Because wasn't he still a police officer in the
no, he was on the run from the cops because he let Toretto go.
Oh, yes, that's right, yeah. No, I'm thinking of 4.
Yeah, you're thinking of 4 because that's when he became the FBI agent.
Yeah, no, I only watched half and then I stopped.
I'll
get back to it eventually.
I've seen all of them except for 8 and Hobbs and Shaw.
Oh, yeah. Apparently Hobbs and Shaw was quite good.
Yeah.
It was quite funny, I heard. Like, the cast was pretty good. The Rock and... what's his name? The Rock and...
Jason Statham.
Yeah. They had a pretty good chemistry, apparently, but I didn't get to see it. Damn, all these films that I've missed out on. Sonic the Hedgehog, Pikachu, Detective Pikachu, I mean.
Detective Pikachu, yeah.
Until DVD release comes out.
Surely they just... they remake the entire Pokemon anime, but live action. Just imagine.
Yeah. But imagine if they got like a sequel. Imagine how long that would take, because I'm busy thinking about like this. Of course, we all have heard of the film Top Gun, have we? Tom Cruise's magnum opus.
Yeah. Mm-hmm.
That was released in 80. That was released in 85, 86, and only now they're releasing the sequel. Like what? Do quick math. It's like 33 years
That was
later.
the same thing with the Blade Runner, though.
With Blade Runner. Yeah, but then again, Top Gun was a massive success. Blade Runner was originally a flop.
Yeah.
It bombed so badly. It was only after it achieved cult classic status then they considered the sequel.
And then even then it was trash.
Yeah.
I got so bored during that. Like, you watch 3 hours. It was 3 hours long, and they didn't even reach the end.
Mind you, that's like about the same length as The Godfather. You do realize that?
Yeah, but but
The Godfather's good though.
Yeah, Godfather 1 and 2 were good. 3 was mediocre at best.
Yep.
Yeah, I remember my dad was just like, okay, we're gonna. Was it 2049? Was it 2048? Can't remember.
2049 because that
2049. Yeah, and then I'm like, bro, I don't want to watch Blade Runner. I haven't even watched the first one. I know nothing about it. So I went in and I didn't understand anything at all, and I thought it was total trash. Like I got bored after half an hour. Everything way too slow. I mean, there were some good parts of it, I will admit, like cinematography, also the characters as well.
Yeah,
weren't like bad, but it was just progressing.
Yeah, of course, Harrison Ford's back in that one.
Yeah.
Also, what's with Harrison Ford and starring in, like, you know, new films from, like, some of his old stuff that happened, like, I don't know, 30 years ago at best, and 10 years ago at least. Because you're having a new Indiana Jones film being planned. You had the Star Wars sequel trilogy. You had Blade Runner 2049. What's next? Are we going to be expecting Air Force One, 2?
Surely.
I mean, but then again, isn't Indiana Jones new car?
Yeah, the Indiana Jones film has a new cast, and apparently they might not be continuing it from Kingdom of the Crystal Skull, because that one left a bit of a bad taste in most people's mouths.
Yes, I thought it was going to be a reboot or something.
If it was a remake, then we would definitely know who would be taking up the fedora.
Who?
Any other films we're going to talk about?
I think.
Don't just... Okay.
Well, yeah,
I
we're
mean,
going to talk about Luke's
actually, what happened to the
films
Terminator?
trending on the
They
dark
rebooted-
web. It's called some of the most judgy stuff you've ever seen.
Wait, just before that, didn't they reboot the Terminator?
They
From
didn't
the-
reboot it. Here's what
After the second one, they remade the... after
pretty
the
much
second
what
one,
happened
wasn't
was after they made Terminator 2, 3, Terminator 1 and 2, 3, 4, and 5 were released, which were...
it? Yeah, and didn't they just pretty much leave
Yeah, they
Yeah.
and just make it...
Terminator 1 was good. Terminator 2, bloody excellent. Terminator 3, 4, and 5, complete dumpster fires that I
So
wish
they
would
just
be
took the
lit for
Yeah,
its
but
own.
did you watch the new Terminator?
I haven't yet. I'm definitely
Okay.
planning on seeing it.
Was it
Apparently,
quite
it's
a
really
flop?
good.
I don't think it did well, did it? In the box office.
No, I don't think it did that well.
I'm not.
Reviews
I'm still going to
reflect
see it
that.
because it continues right after Terminator 2.
Yeah.
And I love that film to death.
I mean, it was a decent effort to get that thing up and running again, but after that, Arnold Schwarzenegger's already quite aged at this point. I mean, you can't really juice that franchise.
Yeah. Did you guys see The Rise of Skywalker at all?
I don't think I did.
Wait, you talking about the 10th? No, the 9th.
Yeah, the 9th one.
Oh, I'm sorry. Yeah.
Yeah,
I
well,
didn't see it.
I actually liked that one. I thought it was a nice way to end the saga. Pretty much tied up a few things here and there from The Last Jedi, because The Last Jedi, in retrospect, that pretty much just spat in the face of the fans. And what The Rise of
Yeah,
Skywalker...
the Force Awakens was... I would say that it wasn't like that good, but
that bad either.
it definitely wasn't bad in my opinion. It was like average.
Last
And
Jedi...
then the Last Jedi was just... That was...
Yeah, and compared to when The Last Jedi spat in the face of the fans, The Rise of Skywalker pretty much cleaned it up and just made it a bit more sense. I like a few bits of the twists and turns in there. The ending,
Yeah, no, I didn't like The Rise of Skywalker. The Rise of Skywalker. I don't even remember what it was. But it's because it felt like, because you could really feel like rushing around trying to fix all the mistakes of The Last Jedi, and it just felt really rushed.
Yeah, they kind of
Like,
wrote themselves into it.
They had they just had they had like plot twists that felt like they shouldn't have been plot twists. Like there's no setup for them, but they just brought them in here to try and fix stuff to actually have a proper villain.
Yeah. But in terms of like, as a fan personally, I thought that was I at least thought it was a good way to end the saga. I'm not going to lie, the moments with Leia in that film, especially given how Carrie Fisher passed away in 2017, as a fan, that got me emotional. And it was just like, holy damn, this is like...
Yeah, I can definitely say one of the most emotional scenes in the movie for me was when all the ships from the rebel base started flying up into the sky to go to the final battle.
Yeah.
Like, not emotionally as in like, like sad. It was more like the hype.
Yeah.
And like, that's the final battle.
Yeah.
All of the characters will be risking their lives just to end this threat.
I also found like the big twist of like Kylo turning back. I felt that was surprisingly well done.
It wasn't 100% predictable at all.
It wasn't 100%, but it was pretty good.
Yeah, I think it's an underrated film.
Can be credited to Adam Driver as an actor.
Yeah, because that guy's essentially one of the new greats of cinema.
I would say so. Yeah, I would. That's a fair statement.
I'm actually excited to like see more of his stuff because he was nominated for that film he did with Scarlett Johansson. I saw the scene from it where he might have gotten that Oscar nomination from, and holy crap, he was like
What film is this?
he was properly getting into the scene. It's the film Marriage Story, I think. He was like properly getting into the scene. He was like getting like he was fully invested in it. You could like believe that the character was going through it, and you got to admire that level of like dedication.
Yeah.
Yeah,
And
no,
also-
when something like that comes up,
Also, the amount of film credits that he's like put up in like the past time in this like past while. Obviously, you had that film he did with Channing Tatum and Daniel Craig, which is called Logan Lucky, if I'm not mistaken. And then he also did Black Klansman with Spike Lee, who was one of the biggest like names in cinema history. He was the guy who did Do the Right Thing, which was one of the biggest films of the 80s because it dealt with like civil rights and all that, and it's really good.
I think have you watched Jojo Rabbit?
I haven't yet. That is still on my watch
man.
list. I'm excited to see Taika Waititi.
Oh man, bro, we need to talk about that. I think we couldn't talk about it last time because
No.
Stephen hadn't watched it.
Yeah. But no, hands down,
Yeah,
Taika Waititi's greatest film, I think, so far. He's
yeah,
gonna
bro.
make more, obviously.
Taika Waititi, he's one of this nation's great.
Yeah, mostly because he's also won that Oscar. Keep in mind.
Peter Jackson.
Yeah,
Taika
like
Waititi.
Jojo Rabbit was a phenomenal film.
Mm.
Yeah.
It was really good. I mean,
I won't go-
I'm not going to go in depth because Matthew hasn't watched it.
Yeah. Did you hear his Oscar acceptance speech? It was really good. He was like, I
Yeah.
dedicate this award to all the indigenous boys or something. He's like, we're the original storytellers. And I was like,
Yeah.
yeah, that's good on you. Putting it out there.
Yeah,
One
I
of
still
the
remember
biggest
when,
ones I was surprised
they had an
about, though,
interview
if I
thing
can
on
use,
YouTube.
was the amount of like nominations, but the amount of wins that Joker received, especially Joaquin Phoenix's performance as Joker, because pretty much I've read the character in the comics for like many years. I've seen many of the different films. Obviously, nothing can live up to Heath Ledger's take on the character. Pretty much a whole heap of others think that was the definitive version of the character, and that what Jared Leto did was absolute hot garbage. What Joaquin Phoenix did was we are getting the storytelling of the character, and I felt like a few twists and turns there. Movie would be a bit boring at times, and the only interesting bit would be at the end. But the way the character was done, I could see like it was appealing to that psychotic side of the Joker, like Killing Joke-esque, and a few other stories here and there, like capturing more.
It did a great service to explaining the origin of the Joker, because the whole film, the whole time, right? Like in the nicest way possible, it was so stressful to watch. Just
Yeah.
because you knew
And also in the comics, we never really know Joker's identity. It's always hinted to be like Jack Napier or something, which was only created so Tim Burton could use that in the 1989 Batman film, which I think is also good.
Mm-hmm.
Yeah, I still haven't watched the Joker.
Definitely see it. Matthew watched Jojo Rabbit, and then Luke watched the Joker.
Yeah.
Yes, I want to watch the Joker. I still haven't watched The Witcher yet.
It should be up online by now on Slumdog.
A film that I actually quite enjoyed a bit was that Daniel Craig, Chris Evans one, Knives Out. That old school kind of 1930s detective story, which I found to be quite interesting in the way it was done.
Who directed
Knives Out. What movie was that again?
Knives Out. It's that old school detective story.
It's the whodunit, basically.
Yeah, the who done it, who did this, who did that. It's like that private investigator type of story in the 30s.
Oh wait, one more thing. Our cinema's gonna be open when we go to level 3. I think it's just take.
I think it's just gonna be like drive-throughs and all that.
Oh, that's so trash.
McDonald's.
Yeah. I saw this meme earlier.
Yeah,
It's
at
like,
least we'd be
when you
getting the
realise level
Maccas.
4 is just level 3. I know. When you realize level 3 is just level 4 with Maccas.
Yeah. Level
Okay,
3 is
I think
just
we're ready to move on.
four
Are we all
Maccas.
good for films?
Kevin, you should make that into a
Make it into a.
slogan. Level 3 is just level 4 with Maccas.
Essentially.
And
Well,
if-
I can finally go to my favorite Thai restaurant again after that. So Anyway, I moved on. Here's the next slide is Pompaliwood, and as you can see, it's got a big under construction kind of a barrier across it. So what does that mean, guys?
I'm gonna let
That
Luke
means
handle
that the
this.
resurgence is coming.
Yes, the resurgence
Yes.
is nigh.
The rebirth, the great
The
big
renaissance.
clean slate. We're gonna be redoing everything. Well, not
I-
everything.
I mean, like, we're gonna basically all it is we're just starting some new projects and abandoning some ones that we didn't really quite feel needed to be done, basically. So
Yes,
Yeah,
so
and
pretty
also-
much the ones that didn't need to be done, I'll just go into detail about that so everyone knows
we're on the same level.
what's happening. A Phantom Thief, that's been pretty much chucked.
Mm,
Again, the main problem was was getting people to actually
Yeah.
get together to film. Like everyone was just doing different stuff around that
Yeah.
time. I don't know why specifically that time, but it was that time. It was just horrible. It was a nightmare. It never ended up getting filmed because of that. It's stuff.
Because look, we had the script, right? We had the story. We had the soundtrack to it. We were ready to upload
We
that
did-
stuff on YouTube.
we just couldn't figure out what bloody time we could get the thing to be filmed.
It was our fault, obviously. 'Cause we just kept putting it off. Like we had a story and everything, but
Yeah, it's on us,
it's on us. It's on us.
ladies and gentlemen. It is our fault. If you're gonna blame anyone, blame us.
Yeah, I mean, like, who else would you blame? Like,
I mean, who
our
else could you
cast
blame?
was all pumped out. They were like, oh, yeah, Anthony was the lead, as you know, and he was all set to go. We just needed to give him the word. But yeah,
Of course,
we knew what we
Anthony
were
was the lead actor because pretty much he's been
Well, actually, I remember Anthony couldn't make the thing, and then on the to a lot of the meets,
Oh,
Yeah.
film days, and then when he could come, some other people from that particular scene couldn't come.
Yeah.
Yeah, it was a huge.
So it was
And I
just-
think
it was just-
it ended
it was
up
a
being
nightmare,
huge
honestly.
mess just because we couldn't get all the actors together, pretty much.
But that
Yeah, I was getting quite stressed out about it. I was trying for pretty much a couple of weeks, 2-3 weeks, just trying to get people to go, and then it just wasn't happening. And eventually, I just ended up forgetting about it.
Yeah, pretty much. But yeah,
we
we're
have
gonna be-
projects that got lined up. We just had a discussion earlier, a little Discord meeting about
Yeah.
ideas, and we crafted
And possible
a few.
project.
Yeah, so expect a short one to be sussed out whenever quarantine would permit us to do so. That's going to be a short project, but then after that, we're going to have a few of the longer ones. See, the problem with the
We're
longer
gonna-
ones is it's hard to do anything outside of
Organised.
media studies because these guys still take media studies, and we were able to do that
Yeah.
in year 11 because we all took it, so we got to upload how to convince how to convince other people that you're a pirate and Monster and Loose and stuff because we had to do that in class.
And uninvited.
And
Uninvited, the
I
film
know,
that
Uninvited was a
film
Yeah.
that we took the least amount of effort.
Uninvited was the one where everyone actually shot.
and that was
Yeah.
fine
But
because
then
I did
Tyler
all the
didn't wanna
writing,
do
I did
that.
all the planning and everything.
It's gonna be
Everyone just
something
had to show
different.
up.
Yeah.
But
Uninvited, still your baby.
it is still, baby.
Yeah. Yeah, it is still the baby that we spent a majority of the time goofing around in the Manu Park, not in the Manu
Straight
Park,
up.
in
I remember
the,
being
in the
so stressed
Puriri
out.
Park forest, just doing who knows what. A funny little story I remember about
Yeah.
that was, how we were filming that bit about walking up the bush, and then Anthony was supposed to jump out and scare you. And then I remember I was supposed to drop a branch, and then I stood on it so hard that even Friday was like, "Oh heck!"
Oh, too bad we
And
don't
you're
have any,
and then
bloopers.
and everyone was like, "Oh gosh, what was that?"
Yeah. It was
Yeah, I remember when your dad came down, we were like, "Who the hell's walking around here?" And he just bloody pops up out of nowhere. I think a couple
Like, hey,
people,
guys.
no, it wasn't me, but a couple people got really scared and
yeah,
jumped.
yeah.
It was hilarious.
Just like, "Ah!"
That part of the evening.
Yeah, Matthew, I think you might have been one of them.
But
I
after that,
wouldn't
we
be
went back to the house
surprised.
and we started to get all the other scenes done, and we had to cut out heaps. I feel like this is the fifth time we've been talking about uninvited, behind the scenes stuff. So I guess just what do you call it? We'll look
Yeah,
into
because
the
when we were
future.
talking about it, it was always about the issues. It wasn't really about what
Oh
happened
my
behind the
gosh,
scenes.
the fact that we had to film it all one night wasn't bad enough.
It was almost like a 24-hour film project, like those competitions you can enter.
Yeah, I think it's also because it was daylight savings as well.
Yeah.
Yeah,
And of course,
So because we wanted to film it at night, which made it even harder. To
Yeah.
actually-
we got very little sleep that night.
We went to bed at like 1 o'clock.
Yeah, and that was all filming as well.
Yeah.
That was cool.
And even then, and Mikhail and I got killed off earlier, and then we just chilled in Kevin's garage, just chucking darts and doing whatever.
You guys were so cooperative. It was so good.
Yeah. I don't know what happened with Phantom Thief. No one was cooperative.
Yeah.
Dude,
With
dudes.
Phantom Thief, it was because we had a sleepover. I don't know. Did we have a sleepover? It was.
It
No, we
was,
didn't.
but we had a sleepover for invited as well.
Yeah.
Yeah, we had a sleep.
But I mean,
Yeah,
Phantom
but-
Thief, it was what do you call it? Everyone just kind of wanted to go home, I suppose. You know?
Yeah, because it was like Luke's birthday thing and we were burnt out.
Yeah. So anyway, just expect one short project to come out soon, and some of the longer ones obviously later into the future. We're talking like well we projected it to be about 12 minutes, 10 minutes long. You know, like uninvited sides type stuff.
Yeah, so keep your eyes out for any new Pompaliwood projects or whatever our new name might be. Who knows?
It's real exciting.
Who
like,
knows?
just
We
all
might have a
new
new-
and we've
Wait,
all
we've
new
got a huge
ideas.
announcement.
Who knows? We might have a
Huge
new
announcement.
lead actor.
New lead
We've got a Discord server.
Exactly. So obviously links in the description. So don't hesitate to join that. Give us feedback or whatever you want to say about us. Hopefully constructive stuff.
So, is this the end of the podcast or something?
No, we're not done
the,
yet.
the end is, I believe there's one or two more slides, maybe just one. Oh yeah. So I've
No,
got
we've
up
still got a
here
lot
the Heineken
still have-
Blue.
for the Pompaliwood slide.
Yep.
I think another thing that we touch on is that in the Discord we will be putting announcements. So if you ever want to like hear anything, like when it happened, like if a new video, then that's going to be the place. Well, to know the haps, you know,
Yeah.
Yeah,
We've
and
got,
also
like,
there will be
also,
fun
like all
bots
sorts
in
of
there.
different announcements as well.
Yeah.
Yeah, like we now, I think I'm trying to start an idea where we actually have a pitch night every now and then, where we pitch ideas and we sort out what we're actually going to do,
And
just
this
to
time
make
we
it
have the
easier.
project.
And eventually as well, we're going to have a vote on what the viewers want to, like what they want to watch.
Yeah.
So we'll put like a synopsis up, and then people can have a vote. I don't know. They'll probably be in the Discord. Not entirely sure,
Yeah.
but we'll set that up eventually. So we want to get more people involved.
Yeah. Have like kind of a base, a fan base. No, not a fan base.
Yes,
Constructive criticism base. Okay.
yes, constructive criticism.
Yeah.
Because there's no point in us working really hard on something that no one's gonna like.
Yeah.
Yeah, especially
I mean,
if they
it's fun
just,
enough
you
to
know,
make-
wanting to be like ass kisses or whatever, they can be like, oh yeah, good, we be, you know.
And if anyone has an idea, you know, we're open to suggestions. We're open to suggestions.
Yeah.
Yeah, so
story
feel free to
ideas,
hit us up on the
character
Discord. The link will be in
ideas.
the description.
Yeah. Also, another thing that we have in the Discord is we've named a lot of the bots after Pompaliwood characters, original Pompaliwood characters. Can I have a round of applause?
Round of applause. And one of them is Humphrey G. Gladly. I didn't take part in naming them, but I was so happy to see that Humphrey G was one of them.
Yeah, of
Humphrey
course.
G is
That
the
was one of the
OG.
major things I noticed. I was, it's Humphrey G.
Alright, Matt, little competition just right now. How many original characters can you name from the Pompaliwood universe? You're timed. No, just checking.
Okay,
I know, I can name
Humphrey
heaps.
G,
Same.
Rich.
Yep.
You better not be reading off the Discord.
Nah, yeah. I can name heaps.
Okay, there's Humphrey G, Rich, Gary,
Yep, George.
Jules,
Neil.
Neil. Did I
The
say
Wolf
Rich
Hunter?
already?
Yeah, you
Yeah,
did.
The
Yeah,
Hunter.
Wolf
damn.
Hunter.
I mean, fair enough. We don't always give them names. Like Tyler's character
Yeah.
in How to Convince People You're Pirate, we didn't even name him. We just
Yeah, we
Yeah,
did.
that was the name you found on a bloody generator, and it was Pirate Harry.
Yeah, I mean, when he got his
The
name,
la-
yeah.
Yeah, I can't even remember what. I think it was it Pirate? Captain Harvey the Well-Tanned.
Pirate
Yeah,
Harvey the
that's
Well-Tanned.
it. Damn.
Was that it? Yeah.
I think he won the competition.
And- Yeah, and I remember there was also the monster.
Oh, the monster, of course.
Yeah, there was Tyler, and Damo, and the original one's on the loose in the
And then
Winning.
Mikhail.
second one. Yeah, that one was cracking, man. Carl was the shady drug dealer. I was the cracker.
I love the second installment.
Yes, I've got the stuff.
Yeah.
Mikhail looked like he was going to shoot up
Wait,
the
wait.
school. I'm not lying.
For Richard's Nightmare, who was did you give Matthew's character a name for that?
Yes, I was Nicholas.
Nicholas.
Yeah, he was Nicholas.
I was a rip-off of Nick Fury, except I didn't have the eye patch and I was white.
Right, because you were gonna.
Actually, can I talk about what? That's another one of the projects they got. The boot.
That was the one that got.
That was
that's the
what
one
was it
that's
called again?
kicked.
Which one?
The
Right.
PPHU. The Pompaliwood Productions Horror Universe.
Cinematic Universe. We were gonna get that
That
going,
was-
but yeah, we only had uninvited.
We only
Yeah,
had uninvited.
I was
tried
actually
do,
going to
like,
tie in Monster on, but I spent so much time on a script. Like, I spent hours each day writing a script. It was like thousands of words long.
Damn.
And it was pretty much going to be like the Avengers and it was ghosts.
Yeah.
If you weren't aware already,
We
it
were
was gonna
trying to
have,
do
like-
what.
it was going to be.
Brothers or
Wait, I'm just going to
Universal
talk about the
Frights.
plot of that because I think it's just cool to get it out there.
Yeah. All right.
Since it's going to be a thing, I've given up.
And also the fact
Yeah.
we were basing it off the Dark Universe that was originally going to have the Mummy with Tom Cruise, and when that flopped, we decided to try do it right, and then.
I mean, that wasn't really part of it, but
By the way, guys,
like,
we reached an hour in
but I think it was Nah, we can keep on going. We'll keep on.
Yeah.
We're almost done anyway.
Yeah.
It was pretty much going to be about Rich and Nicholas joining this. Nicholas was getting rid of their organization, ghosts and stuff, and it was pretty much all the supernatural stuff was happening, which is the cause behind the monster.
And also.
And we're going to have other stuff as well, like clown. And there's going to be like action scenes, and everyone was going to come back.
Yeah. We
back.
were having delusions.
We were going to have the main character from Uninvited, the guy that was. What was his name?
Tie it all in together. The only thing I
The
wouldn't have liked so much
Wolf
about
Hunter. He was the Wolf Hunter.
Yeah,
Guy,
yeah,
if
Wolf
we
Hunter.
talk about Anthony and the Dream Code, it was the Wolf.
Was the monster on the list?
The only
The
thing
monster-
I would be opposed to in making a cinematic universe is making it too much action based and taking away
Mm.
the history behind
Yeah.
what's happening.
Yeah, it was going to be. I had actually planned a lot of scenes in like the house, like the original house, Uninvited place.
And then Kevin
Which
decided to
I'm-
move.
And then I moved. Crack up. Well, then-
Yeah, no, it was supposed to be filmed
That had to
before
be
then, though. It
next
was supposed to be
step.
filmed
Yeah.
last year, but it never happened.
Oh, guys, by the way,
But
obviously,
Yeah.
as you just heard, I moved. That gives us a new kind of filming location. We got like a nice suburban area here, and we got like the woods. That could be worth looking into.
yeah, it could.
Definitely.
Maybe for the that short thing that you mentioned, that short project.
Yeah, definitely, yeah.
It could be quite a good place.
Yep.
In the bit of the
What,
woods.
like recreate the scares? Hey guys, the scares here. I'm walking out of this.
Is that all?
I mean,
Tell you stuff
preferably
out of the
not.
way? Yeah, nah.
All right, should
Yeah.
we move on?
Okay, so a very last slide.
Yeah, I think we
Heads
should
up-
move on.
Yep, our last
The
slide.
Heineken flu.
The Heineken
Give it up for
time,
the Heineken
boys.
flu. So, as you all
Of
know,
course,
this
as
is
you
the
know-
August-
Yeah. Of course, as you know, our country has been locked down for about 3 weeks now, moving into
feels
the
like
fourth.
5 months.
Yeah, it feels,
It feels like
forever.
ages there.
I've compared it to the Shawshank Redemption, except we're not actually in a prison, but we actually are. But it's off our own creation. I was actually.
Well, are you
gonna pull
getting
off I was
are
going to
you
pull off an
getting
Andy Dufresne and
abused?
use the Batman poster on my wall to like hide a massive hole I was going to dig out of.
It's outside. It's not like a prison.
totally couldn't just open your window or something and jump just walk
Yeah,
out
but the
front door.
problem is that my windows have been redone. I'm going to be able to jump out of it.
So
just break it.
What do you call it? So far, New Zealand's been handling it really well.
Yeah, we've been handling it
deaths.
super
How many
well
deaths
compared
have
to
we
other
had?
countries.
I think we only had 13 new cases.
I mean, how many people have died from it so far in New Zealand? I think 8.
11, but all
11.
of them have been like senior citizens in this anywhere
Yeah.
from the 70s till the 90s.
And I think most of them have been in rest homes as well.
Yeah, there was like a huge cluster around like a Rosewood rest home area. So
Yeah, Canterbury, I think.
Yeah.
I also heard that scientists at the University of Otago are actually joining the the cause to find a vaccine, because they made a really good point on the news the other day. It's like, well, let's say the US comes up with a vaccine, right? It'll take
Which
probably,
they're doing because they're like testing on humans now.
yeah, it'll take a while, but also once they actually have it up and running, they're probably going to vaccinate their own people first before they go anywhere
Yeah.
else abroad. So New Zealand, I think, made a pretty good choice to accelerate the process of getting vaccine over here.
Also, the fact that we've decided to handle this, like, the lockdown in, like, retrospect, yeah, it was boring, but at the same time, you're not all getting infected. We wouldn't be ending up like Spain with, like, a massive infected and death count. And even then, they've opened up their borders again, which I feel like is a massive mistake.
And the measures we've taken aren't extreme either. Like, if you look at, I think there was some country in Africa. I think it might have been South Africa, but I'm not too sure. But people were...
There was a country in Africa that got Ebola and Corona.
Yeah. Well, whichever it was. I think there was a country that the penalties for going outside was like getting beaten or something. Or just getting whacked.
Jeez, I think in the Philippines, didn't they have it? They like shoot people on sight if they saw them.
No, that was North Korea. That was North Korea.
Oh, I thought it was in the Philippines.
And
But,
I don't
It's
think
North
that's
Korea.
entirely
Jong
true
Un's
as
the-
well for North
Yeah,
Korea.
Kim Jong-un's the only crazy guy who could think of shooting people with coronavirus, in my opinion.
yeah. Also, has Australia even gone into lockdown?
They have,
No, because Scott Morrison happens to be an idiot.
Bro, ScoMo's the best Prime Minister ever.
ScoMo shat himself in an Engadine Macca's in '97. I will tell that story another time because we were like 66 minutes in.
Another time, yeah. And I mean, one good thing about having the Heineken flu happening right now is our podcast should increase in frequency from now on because we've got nothing.
Yeah.
Oh my.
Whenever we get bored, ladies and gentlemen, you'll be expecting us streaming.
But we'd only be able to talk about Pompaliwood because nothing would really be developing in the areas of film and TV series, nothing like that. That'd be pretty boring. And sport as well. We didn't even have a
Nothing
sport.
interesting in that area
Yeah, we
whatsoever.
haven't had sport the past couple of times. Everything's been cancelled.
Yep.
I think didn't the NRL have a new date? Like, what was it? Not start date, but
They cancelled UFC 249, so that's got to be saying something.
That's big.
mm,
So we'll see how these things develop.
ScoMo for New Zealand is what I see now in comments. If you want ScoMo as a leader, go to Cronulla and move there.
Oh wait, also did you hear? Ashley Blomfield?
Yes, the guy who should be deserving of a knighthood.
Yeah, exactly. And also, people have been saying that that there was a petition on some website. It's like,
Make him the health minister or whatever.
I think he is, isn't he? But people were saying
No, he's not the minister of health. The minister of health was he's not the minister of health. The minister of health was the idiot who who was saying, all right, since we're in lockdown, stay inside. Next minute, he decided to drive up to the mountains to go biking with his family.
I like how that guy admitted that he was straight up an idiot, though. That was really good. But he did.
Yeah, that's because Jacinda made him apologize for being such a clot.
I mean, he's got his job still. He probably makes more money than anybody.
Mm. But either way,
Make
Ashley
money.
Bloomfield or whatever.
also on my YouTube channel, I've been making a I've been making a Minecraft city dedicated to Auntie Cindy.
Auntie Cindy.
Yes.
So be sure to check out that stream a week ago. I plan on doing more so people can see the updated version of the city.
So you do
And
like a
with
day-by-day
that
type
plug, we might need
Not a day by day, but like, maybe like week by week, you know.
week, yeah. All right, we'll see how that goes. When's that ready to be released?
Well, I mean, I don't know when I'll live stream next.
Okay.
I'm actually
Keep an eye
thinking
out
about
for it.
creating.
Maybe tomorrow, I don't know. Whenever I feel like it, really.
Guys, I'm actually thinking about creating a channel myself, to be honest.
What are you gonna post?
Okay, well, people can just give Matthew his support if they want him to make a YouTube channel.
Yeah. What type of content are you gonna make, Matthew? Covers and like film reviews, maybe?
Yeah, I'm thinking about doing film reviews, but I also got like this huge chunk of gaming footage that I'll probably be able to use or something. Maybe like a few short films here and there.
Yeah. Oh, well, surely send it to the Pompaliwood channel.
Yeah, when I get it up and running, I'll let you guys know.
Yeah, that's the one. Okay, Leia, lockdown has got us doing all sorts of different things.
Yeah.
It's fine.
And with that, it is time to leave.
What's our run time right now?
69.
Surely.
Oh, that's
right now.
perfect.
Perfect. All right, cool. So we're gonna end right here, guys. We're signing off.
Yes.
It's me, and it's Luke.
Yeah, make
It's
sure
me.
to check out Kevin and Luke's channels. You can also check out any other of the Pompaliwood channels. You can check me out on Twitter at King of Mullets. You can also be to like and subscribe and share to the Pompaliwood Productions channel and turn those post notifications. Until then, I've been Matthew. We've been hanging here with Kevin, Luke, and
No, daily on the Discord. Daily on.
Yep. Hit
you
us up
also
with some
follow the
ideas.
Discord link is in the description.
Also,
Okay, I'm in
without further ado, goodbye, my beautiful souls,
Bye,
or you
viewers.
beautiful souls.
Bye.
And until next time, tally ho!